Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Radio Dayz, a podcast radio program that delves into the world of terrestrial radio. It's DJs and on-air personality, and you, all fans of radio as a medium. Here's your host, Ron.
Hello and welcome to Radio Dayz the Podcast. You can hear this podcast on Buzzsprout, as well as all of the major platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can also watch this podcast via YouTube and at ronrobinsonstudios.com. In this episode, which is brought to you by Brian Alore from Team 71 Mortgage Group and Radio Dayz the Movie, we're going to take a look at the live music coming to town this summer, specifically to a new venue. It's not new anymore, but some of you might not know about it. Today, we're taking a dive into the upcoming summertime lineup at, it is my favorite venue right now to see live music, the Wildwood Amphitheater in Lake Orion. To help me to do this, my guest today is the executive producer for the Major Group and the man who makes things happen over at the Wildwood Amphitheater, Mr. Brian Major. Brian, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, Ron. Pleased to be here and super excited about our summer concert series brought to you by Neutral.
Got to get those sponsors in there, right? I
won't go to the bottom of the page. I'm only at the top.
I have to tell you, I'm not joking when I said that that's my favorite venue. I mean, people have historically loved Pine Knob. To me, this is Pine Knob on steroids because, first off, you don't have to deal with the traffic because there's plenty of outgoing traffic. And I just won't go to Pine Knob anymore. I know some people like to go to Pine. I just won't go. The traffic is just not worth it to me. But I love going to see live music at an amphitheater type of environment where you got the lawn, you got the close-up seats, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see your first show coming up on the 8th, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But for people who don't know, Brian, let's talk a little bit about the Wildwood Amphitheater. What year are you in? And talk about the progress that you've made up until this point.
Well, Ron, this is our third season, and I have to tell you, unabashedly, it is our best. We have 63 events scheduled. 10 of them are free concerts. Another 10 of them are free movies. Free concerts are every Thursday. Our free concerts are every Tuesday, and every Wednesday is a free movie brought to you by Michigan United Credit Union. The schedule runs, like you say, June 8 is our season opener. It's our blues night with national recording artist Anthony Gomes. I believe he's the number 5 blues guitarist in the country right now. And just climbs up a ladder from there.
And you mentioned Anthony Gomes, and I'm excited. I've never seen him, so I am excited about that. But I have to admit, the reason I'm coming out there is to see the new band Righteous Deluxe. They last year I think they opened up the season. This year they're opening up the season with Anthony Gomes. Are you going to try to get like the same act to come up and open the season? Because there's something to be said about that first live concert every summer. It's just at that summertime when you can get out the live music, no?
Yep. No, I agree 100%. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that things go well and that we can make Anthony Gomes our Eddie Money, in that he would be our season opener every year.
That's exactly who I was thinking of as Eddie Money. So we mentioned because there's going to be a blues show, Righteous Deluxe. I'm curious to see what kind of music they're going to put out. But Brian, I'm excited because you have all kind. I mean, the acts, I should say, are very versatile. I mean, you got. Let's talk about some of the acts you got coming. I see a tribute to Miranda Lambert and Zach Brown, and I think you got a Toby Keith tribute. But let's talk about some of the lineup that are, past June 8th. What should people look forward to this summer at Wildwood Amphitheater?
Which of your children do you neglect? All of the shows are great. We have a salute to Tina Turner the following Friday, the 16th. The Sax Maniacs do a Soul Train tribute. Melanie Rutherford has a vocalist in her band that's going to be covering Tina Turner, and we've got DJ Jen. We've got a great show. We have a tribute to Monsters of Rock 1984 with Motley Crue, Van Halen, and AC/DC. Of course, Rock Never Stops. It's been a perennial favorite for us the last 2 years. That's coming 1st of July. we're doing a lot of interesting tributes this year. For instance, Lollapalooza 94, which is the Beastie Boys, Smashing Pumpkins, and Green Day.
Wow.
We picked up, we have a couple of rare Sunday shows this year. July 16th is Maroon 5, and I've got a band called the Firewalkers. They are local. It's vintage R&B, jump, and Laura Mendoza is the front vocalist for that, and she's just phenomenal.
Another one, I'm sorry to cut you. Another one that I'm looking forward to is the Jimmy McCarty with Carl Henry on July 20th. People around here love Jim McCarty.
Yep, and Carl Henry's been a perennial favorite. We're lucky to get Jim back again this year. I get a chill when I think about year one when he put on a guitar clinic and just sent us all into the stratosphere with his playing.
He's so good, isn't he? Oh my gosh.
And he's not slowing down.
No, he's just getting better with age. He's like a fine wine, that guy.
You couldn't have said it any better.
So go on. So I didn't mean to cut you off. There's plenty of more acts. But that's one thing I noticed real quick about this is you have a lot more acts than you did last year. It's quite amazing.
Well, we are trying to maximize our yield and make hay while the sun shines because it is summer out. We came up with these, what I call Super Saturdays, where we're presenting 3, and in this next case, 4 tribute artists. We're doing a tribute to Farm Aid 1985 with John Mellencamp, Bob Dylan, Neil Young, and
wow.
And I mean, $25. So where are you going to get that kind of entertainment?
That's why I was going to bring that up. This is much less expensive. I mean, nowadays, I think my wife got us Brian Adams tickets at Little Caesars Arena coming up in a couple weeks, and it was a small fortune. I prefer music outside. I prefer music in the summer, and I'm say it again. The Wildwood Amphitheater, to me, when all is said and done, is going to be the premier venue in this area. Another band I'm looking at, I'm scrolling down your lineup here, Brian, is June 30th. You got a Journey and Bon Jovi tribute. Talk about this show.
We've been lucky to have them the past 2 seasons, and they're coming back this year. It's just, who doesn't love Journey and Bon Jovi? And to get to see 2 separate acts together on the same stage, it's always been a big seller for us. And this year, even more people will be coming to see it. We've expanded our advertising for just that reason.
And if people are, like I said, it's very versatile. The acts, you got July 7th and 8th. You're going to want to put those on your calendar because July 7th, you get a Purple Madness tribute to Prince, which I think he was there last year, and then a King of Pop tribute to Michael Jackson the next night.
Here, hold on. Here's what you missed. July 6th, we call this our royalty weekend. Thursday, July 6th, we have Detroit's own Queen of the Blues, Thornetta Davis, who just won a Blues Foundation Award in Memphis last month. So we have the Queen of Blues, we have Prince, and the King of Pop across 3 days.
Wow.
So royalty weekend.
That is a royalty weekend. And for that, that's the steal of the summer. You got for $15 on July 6th, which is going to be an awesome Thursday night, Thornetta Davis with special guest Caleb Gutierrez. Go ahead.
You've got an old schedule. We raised that price to
okay.
20.
Well, $20 is still a good deal. Come on now.
Yeah. We're trying to keep it inexpensive. We are the little theater with the big sound.
Yes.
And like we only seat 1,500, so it's like watching a concert in somebody's backyard.
It's a personal. That's how you feel. It's like you walk in your backyard, and there's the Paz Man playing the guitar, or there's the Bon Jovi tribute right there. Exactly.
No, it's we put together an incredible lineup, and people will. Let me put it to you like this: you get your money's worth.
Oh, for sure. And I'm telling you, like, as I'm scrolling this schedule, Brian, I'm like, I got to get tickets for that. I got to get tickets for that. And one that really jumped out at me is a couple years ago, me and my wife went on a cruise, and one of the shows that they had on the cruise blew me away. And I didn't know it was on Broadway, but you got something similar on July 13th. you got one half of the $1 Million Quartet. I saw the $1 Million Quartet on the cruise, which was Johnny Cash. It's Carl Perkins. It's Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis. You got a tribute to Johnny Cash and Elvis on July 13th. Talk about this show.
Well, Johnny Cash, again, I've been working with my Johnny Cash tribute for several years, and they've played Wildwood the past 2 seasons. This year, we thought, let's add Elvis, and we got one half of the $1 Million Quartet. So
I think I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I skipped over some shows that I shouldn't, and I mentioned at the top. Talk about the Toby Keith tribute Thursday, June 29th. That looks cool. Again,
Michael Sugg does Toby Keith better than Toby Keith, in my opinion. A gentleman who does a killer Chris Stapleton tribute. So we packaged the two of them together. That's part of our Blues and Boots series.
And then you come down a little bit, and we mentioned the July 6th, 7th, and 8th shows. July 11th, another popular local band, the Killer Flamingos, a free concert. Talk about that. Is that still free?
Oh yeah. Every Tuesday and throughout the season, we present killer bands and at a killer price, which is free. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people like to get a ticket in advance so they're not shut out at the door.
Right.
And you can get them by going to our website, www.orion.events. And even though it's free, you can order tickets in advance. So
now, before we go any further into this lineup for the summer, Brian, I got to ask you because, I mean, I think what you do is so underappreciated. I'm looking at this lineup, and it's so neat and polished, and you're like, oh, that band. What goes into booking these bands and scheduling these bands? Because this seems like it would be an overwhelming task. Talk about what goes into scheduling these bands, and how do you decide who you're going to bring in?
We pick our favorites. More times than not, there's a big demand out now for tribute acts. And we're fortunate here in the Motor City to have a wealth of them when they aren't available or I can't find the right artist. Chicago and Cleveland have another wealth of talent that we draw from. So it's, what do we want where? Start with Rockstar, for instance. We like to open the season with them because they're one of the biggest acts that have played for us the past 2 seasons. And it's always one of our best-selling shows. So what better way to get people acquainted with the facility than starting with something like that? Then it's simply a matter of who's available when. We know what we want. We last year we sat around and talked about, wouldn't it be great if we could do a tribute to Lollapalooza 94 with the Beastie Boys, Smashing Pumpkins, and Green Day, or our Made in Michigan show, which is Bob Seger, Kid Rock, and Ted Nugent, the Horde Festival, which is the Allman Brothers, Dave Matthews, and Ween.
Wow, yeah.
A lot of people are, remember these festivals, but either we're too young to attend or not able to for various reasons.
So go ahead.
There's this show that's not on your schedule that we just added last week called Dayz Between with the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan.
Wow.
That's our only other Sunday show. And it's called Dayz Between because Jerry Garcia, founder of the Grateful Dead, these are the dates between when he was born, August 1, and died August 9th. Or I might have gotten that backwards. But
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick. You got a lot of returning bands. What kind of feedback are you getting from the artists? Obviously, they're coming back because they enjoy the venue, but what kind of feedback are you getting from them about the venue?
Oh, they absolutely love it. One of the things that one of the things that they comment on is how great it sounds and how, I mean, I don't want to say how intimate it is with the audience, but, you know, they dig the idea of it being almost like a backyard concert, but on a real stage with a real PA and light show.
Okay, well, another thing before we go into the lineup, because you got a Taylor Swift thing coming up, I want to talk about that. I see on Tuesday nights you're showing, it's Wildwood Amphitheater Movie Night. Talk about this. This is every Tuesday, right?
Wednesday nights.
I'm sorry, Wednesday. I misspoke. Yes.
Wednesday nights are movie nights. Yeah, one of the things that the venue's been missing is more community involvement. And we wanted to do movie nights, and doing our research, we found that in order to do a movie night with a projector, it's got to be dark out, which means they wouldn't start till 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. We purchased a pair of 12-foot diagonal video walls, which are being erected next week in time for our grand opening. And we will be showing movies on them every Tuesday night. Thanks to our friends at Michigan United Credit Union. They sponsored it so it could be free to the community.
That's too cool. That's too cool. So just to give people an idea, I think the first one is June 14th, coming up in a couple of weeks. They're going to show DC League of Super Pets. That's, I'm sure, looks good for the kids. And on the 21st, you got Puss in Boots, another family favorite. Movie night, Hotel Transylvania. That was one of my favorites as a kid. Coming up June 28th. That's going to be fun. And what's that? The next one, Lightyear. Is that the new Buzz Lightyear movie?
Yes. I had, so you talked about how do you pick bands. This is really kind of funny. In order to show movies to the general public, you have to pay a licensing fee. And so we went through an organization that licenses movies to places like ours. And they gave me a list of movies, and I had 15 minutes to pick 10 movies. So
wow,
it was
not much time.
No. And so I tried to pick stuff that families would like. Hotel Transylvania is a little out of sync at 2:28, but we got Space Jam, Minions, Rise of Gru. One of my favorites, I saw this on an airline flight, Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
Yes, good movie.
I hope people come out for that because it was phenomenal. Vivo, Sonic 2. And then we close our movie series with Super Mario Brothers.
Is that the new one or the older one?
The brand new one that just came out last month.
Very cool. Yeah, it just seems like you got something for everybody here, Brian. I mean, no group of people is excluded here. Nope.
And nor should they be.
Yeah.
Nor should.
It's all at an affordable price. It's the Wildwood Amphitheater in Lake Orion. Now, that's across the street from Canterbury Village, no?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Corner of Joslin Road and Walden Road.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, June 8th, you got Anthony Gomes with Righteous Deluxe. We're going to run through these again. You got the Icons of Country Music, Miranda Lambert and Zach Brown band tributes. The Dave Hamilton band with special guest Jason Bone tribute. Led Zeppelin tribute. We haven't talked about the Zeppelin tribute. Talk about these guys.
Oh, please. There is a woman in town. Her name is Barbara Payton. Many of you might recognize her as one of Bob Seger's premier backup singers, and she fronts a number of different bands. She's doing the Robert Plant for a Led Zeppelin tribute.
Wow.
We had last year. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, one of the few artists I will go out of my way to see. And so we brought them back again this year. She's an in-demand personality and not easy to pin down for a date. So
She's so good.
Oh, and she just kills Led Zeppelin. So
can't wait for that. And as you mentioned, you got Monsters of Rock, the 84 tribute, which is a tribute to AC/DC, Van Halen, and Motley Crue. Come on. This is going to be a great show.
Yeah, and again, for the cost of buying one ticket at Pine Knob, you can take 4 people or sometimes 8 people to see a show at Wildwood.
Well, Brian, you have nobody you don't have the grunge. Yes, we do. Nirvana, tribute to Nirvana with special guest Choking Susan. That's coming up July 14th. Talk about this one.
We had them last year. They killed it. It was unbelievable. These tribute acts, I try my hardest. You talked about booking them. My tribute roster has over 180 individually named artists and multiples of many. There's 5 Bob Segers, there's 6 Pink Floyds, but Nirvana is not easy, and I try not to book them without at least doing my homework. We're bringing these guys are coming in from Minneapolis, and I just can't say enough about them. They wowed. I can't say that I was really a Nirvana fan until I saw the tribute last year, and it was as spot on as anybody could make it. But when you talk about that, I'm also reminded of Lollapalooza 92. Lollapalooza 92, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Wow.
That's coming at the close of our season.
Yes.
I knew it was on here.
The Palooza tribute, that's July 15th, right? Oh, no, you're talking about the 92.
Yeah, 92 Palooza is September 9.
Wow.
With Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ugh.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And before that, so what closes out the show? Or the season, rather?
Okay. We had something in mind for our season finale, and we went around and talked about a number of different things. I can't really divulge who the guest stars are.
Ooh.
I can only tell you that you need to keep an eye on the website, www.orion.events. Our publicist is On the Rocks Detroit, and September 23rd is their 15th anniversary blowout. We're using Tino G from, everybody knows Tino from the Howling Diablos and
yes,
and Uber producer in town. And he's got his new Dumpster Machine release coming out in that time frame. So he's putting together what we call an all-star review. Many of the great Motor City acts, that many of which haven't played in quite some time, are coming out of retirement to perform for us. Tino's Dumpster Machine will be the rhythms, there will be the opening act and rhythm section, and we'll just be plugging in players all night long. I wish I could share with you some of the bigger names, but I'm sworn to secrecy until we announce.
I will stay tuned for that. That's a good teaser.
It's much the same as our Friday, September 8th show, which is really one of the only TBAs on the schedule. It's booked, but we can't announce it until we can't announce it for another couple of weeks. So, but
I'll wait for that. I do want to ask you one question, because you do have a lot of tribute bands, but you got some originals throughout there too. But I wanted to ask you, what's the hopes for the future? Do you continue to hope to obviously these are great acts and people are going to come out and enjoy themselves, but for the devil's advocate, are you going to bring more original acts to Amphitheater? Is that your hope, or do you like this? Because to me, I don't even think that is necessary. You just keep bringing these acts, and I think people will come. But I just wanted to ask you, is that something that you hope for in the future, or you just want to keep doing what you're doing and add on to it?
I believe there's a niche for programming of this nature. And
I do too.
And I believe in it. And I have to tell you that as of today, advanced ticket sales are are shattering previous records on a daily basis.
Cool.
So I couldn't be happier. Would I like to add more original music? Certainly. We like to use the great Motor City talents as openers, and we want to feature more of them as headline acts, but we are lacking in certain infrastructure to accommodate anything more than what we're doing right now. Hopefully in 2024, you'll see more original artists, but it'll still be overwhelmingly tributes.
Well, I will tell you this. I think it's an interesting time that way, Brian, because I mean, if you go into a supermarket or a store that plays music, you're not going to hear Justin Bieber or Selena Gomez. You're going to hear Journey. You're going to hear Bad Company. I think there's something to be said. And to your point, the fact that there's this many specialized tribute bands, I think speaks volumes about the state of music today. And I don't want to sound like get off my lawn guy, but the music today pales in comparison to the music that was made the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s, if you ask me. So I think you are onto something. I think, yeah, it would be great to get a Foo Fighters down the road, but to me, what you're doing right now, just give me more of it. Because as I'm looking through this lineup, and we'll talk more about some of the acts we missed before I let you go, but it's filled with dynamic musicians paying tribute to established musicians. And I think it's phenomenal what you're doing here. I can't say that enough.
No, I can't, and I can't thank you enough for saying it. There's some that are not on the schedule you have in front of you. One that I'm particularly fond of, like I say, I don't believe the Maroon 5 tribute is on there.
No,
it was good to pass up. So I said, "Hey, I'll take you on the Sunday." So.
Yeah, I want to run some of the real quick before I want to run through some of the ones that we haven't mentioned. We did mention, I think July 14th, we got the Nirvana tribute coming up. We mentioned Jimmy McCarty, July 20th. You're going to be hard pressed to find a better musician than Jimmy McCarty. You got Freak Like Me tribute on July 21st. You got the Farm Aid tribute that you mentioned with John Cougar, Willie Nelson, and Neil Young tribute on July 22nd. You wanted to say something about that one?
The Freak Like Me is actually a Hailstorm tribute. And that show we have added the Ramones tribute, which is being produced locally by a group called The Hormones. It's an all-female Ramones tribute. And they played the last 2 years and are phenomenal. And there's a young singer that we're featuring as the opening act. Her name is Callista. And I'm telling you, you're going to want to catch this girl now because I think she's one of the next big things to come out of
next
the
time. You might have to pay a couple $100 to see her, probably.
Oh yeah. There's another one.
Go ahead.
There's another that's not on your schedule. We've got ABBA on August 4th, but the opening act is the Talking Heads.
Yeah, if you want a complete list, orion.events is where Orion Events is where you can find this listing. And as Brian mentioned, you're going to continue to be updated.
And purchase tickets.
Yes, you can purchase tickets there. Dancing Creed tribute to ABBA. That's August 4th, as you mentioned.
With the Talking Heads opening.
With the Talking Heads tribute band opening. You got I-90s on Detroit. Tell me more about this.
Well, again, another act that's played for us in the past. It's a free Tuesday, and we wanted to do, it's a quote-unquote community show. It's paid for by Orion Township, and we wanted something that would draw people out to the venue. And the 80s crowd is getting a little more kind of waning off, and now people are into the 90s, and the Interstate 90s play that era, that genre, and they play it well.
Yeah. Speaking of the 90s, on August 11th, you got a boy band review. Talk about this show. This looks fun for the youngers.
They were out last year. I wasn't expecting much. They wowed me. It was choreographed. It was synced. It was just spot on. Everybody loved it. So we're bringing it back again this year. And opening for them is another hot young Motor City talent, Lily McPhee, another one that's going to be bursting out of the scene. I'm lucky to have had her commit to playing for us a couple of times this summer to open some shows.
Now, I've been fortunate enough to see these three gentlemen in person, in live concert on a couple of occasions for each, but I am going to definitely get tickets for the August 12th show, Made in Michigan Tribute Fest. This is going to be a tribute to Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, and Bob Seger. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, why not? It's part of our Super Saturday series. These shows start earlier, so make sure you check the website for times.
6 o'clock on that show. Yeah. And that's going to be 3 or 4 hours of awesome music. The Dirt Kroll Band, August 15th. Talk about this show.
Great guy, incredible singer-songwriter, killer band. He's so deserving of wider recognition. There's nobody I have heard better, and we're hoping that that his audience follows him out here. He does a lot of smaller sold-out shows, and again, we wanted to present him to a wider audience, so we've got him on a Tuesday night as part of our free concert series.
I tell you, you're going to get a lot of my money this summer because here's another one. I've seen this young lady, another one that's just another Detroit musician, singer that's just so amazing. August 17th, Tasha Owens with Bobby Murray. Yep. A salute to Etta James. Can't wait for this show.
I would tell people to buy their tickets early because there's going to be a special guest added to the lineup. And I, again, can't say who, but we're in negotiations with a major blues artist to come in and co-headline with Tasha and Bobby.
Wow.
So I couldn't get it in the paper. We couldn't get it in the paper in time, but it will be on the next schedule that we print. So I'm excited.
August 25th, you got Beyond the Blonde, tributes to Gwen Stefani, Pink, and Lady Gaga. A lot of people are going to be digging this. Again, another Saturday show, 6 o'clock.
No, that's Friday.
Get your tickets, and you'll have the ticket time on your tickets. That's the safest way to do it.
I apologize because you're an older schedule. Because Saturday night is our Back to the Future special.
Yes, and I was going to ask you about that. Tributes to Foreigner, Stevie Nicks, and Huey Lewis, a trio that another three of my favorites. How Foreigner's not in the Hall of Fame right now, I have no idea. But talk about this show, August 26th. That's what you were talking about, right?
Yep. Saturday, the Saturday Super Show, Back to the Future. We had a Huey Lewis tribute that we'd been trying to find someplace for, and we were able to work out a date that made sense for him. So here we are. They were available, and we paired up Street Angel, which is the Stevie Nicks tribute, and a Foreigner tribute, and it's going to be wild. And tickets for that are only $19.85.
I love how you did that. That's brilliant. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
$19.85.
Couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks. Who's singing as Stevie Nicks?
Her name is Katie Eisert.
Okay.
And he is phenomenal. If anybody has ever seen a tribute act, chances are Katie is Facebook bombing them with promotion.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And a little bit 5 days later, you got Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan. Talk about this show.
I was scouring the country for a Jason Aldean, and was lucky enough to find one out of Chicago.
Nice.
And they had a Luke Bryan tribute that they paired with him. And so I said, how do we not do that for our that's our last Thursday night of the season. So it was a no-brainer. Everybody seems to love them, and tickets have been selling rapidly. So get yours now before they're gone.
And for the baby boomers as well as the younger generations, on September 1st, the Beatles versus the Rolling Stones tribute. This is interestingly titled, Versus the Rolling Stones. Talk about this show.
Well, I've had my Beatles tribute out. I use Digaphony. They don't do the costumes. I don't think anybody cares, but their harmonies and music are spot on. And the Rolling Stones, they're the Rolling Stones. Again, another act that's played for us we had them on the lawn last year for free, and it was one of our biggest Tuesday nights. So we paired the two together. We hope people don't mind spending $25 to be entertained.
I think they're going to enjoy themselves. The next night, I'm looking forward to this one too. You got Teddy Petty and the Refugees, which is a Tom Petty tribute, and you also got a Jay Giles and Cheap Trick tribute bands.
Yep. We did Tom Petty and Jay Giles last year, and it was phenomenal. But because it's a Super Saturday, we thought we'd throw in Cheap Trick just to get the crowd warmed up.
I'm just blown away by this lineup. I don't know how you did it, Brian, but kudos to you, my friend. September 22nd, Floyd live tribute. Pink Floyd with special guest Frank Zappa tribute. What?
I've been dying to get my Frank Zappa tribute out there, and it's been like pulling teeth because either you're a Zappa fan or you're not.
Right.
In order to get the show, in order to put the Pink Floyd on and have people experience it with less daylight, I figured, okay, let's just throw the Frank Zappa tribute on there, let them rip, and then by the time they're done, it'll be dark enough for a Pink Floyd show.
One thing we didn't talk about, I'm going back to the beginning of the season here. On June 13th, you have the North Oakland Concert Band. What is this going to be about? Who's the North Oakland Concert Band? What's that? It's
a community concert band. It's 25 or 30 piece orchestra, but they do more of it's not long hair,
Right.
It's pop stuff. They've been a mainstay of the Orion Township 3 Tuesday concerts, and so they're a must book.
Wow. Well, all these are not must books. I think people are going to love them. You're setting the bar. I mean, this is the third season, Brian, but man, is the bar set high this year. I don't know how you're going to. We'll talk about that down the road, but how you're going to duplicate next year, this year, because this year, like I said, I became a Wildwood fan 2 years ago, the first season you guys opened up, and last year it got better, and this year is just wow. It's just you guys have taken it to a whole new level.
Well, I mean, a lot of credit for that also goes to my partners, James Jenkins and John Carson. I've taken on some more help with a dear friend of mine from junior high who we reconnected with, Kevin Gillespie, and they're balancing out the team, and we're working out a lot of the kinks that we encountered as we started to grow. This year we're coming out guns blazing and take no prisoners. So it's a great season, and we are hoping that there will be more amenities. We're working on more food options, better bar service, and again, not trying to compare myself to our bigger brother down the road, but our concession costs are far less, our ticket costs are far less, and our traffic hassles are far less.
Far less. I love the traffic. I mean, like I live in Utica, Lake Orion. It takes me 10 minutes to get there, and it takes me 12 minutes to get back, and that's it. Yep,
exactly. And I can't stress that enough to people that, this isn't 15,000 seats, it's 1,500.
Yeah.
So
it's like going in your backyard and there's Anthony Gomes and Righteous Deluxe. Are you kidding me?
Yep. There's Led Zeppelin and Lily McPhee. There's Soundgarden. There's something for everybody. Another thing that I do want to talk to you about is our weekend, July 28 to 30. That's Tommy Stock, and we move everything over to Camp Agawam, which is the former Boy Scout camp, literally around the corner from Wildwood.
Okay.
Friday night, the 28th, Cast Iron Cornbread. They played for us last year, wowed the crowd. Category 5 is opening for them. On Saturday, July 29th, we've got our Jimmy Buffett tribute out there with Don Middlebrook, who's a Parrot Head from the Florida Keys.
Wow.
And then on Sunday the 30th, which will be free, it's called Boobs, Tubes, and Dudes.
Love that.
Which is a fundraiser for the Breast Cancer Awareness Fund.
Wow. So you're even throwing money, you're taking care of charity. You're doing it all, Brian.
I'm trying.
I have to tell you, for someone who's listened to this podcast, you know, we met through the unfortunate murder of John Alore, and I know John Alore was going to be a big part of what you were doing. I think he would totally be thrilled about how far you've come in the last couple of years. It's amazing. And I think he would be right there every night with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, John could always be counted on to bring a band on in a fashion only John could do.
Yes.
And, you know, his senseless death still haunts many of us to this day. And, you know, I hope he's up. I hope he's up in heaven watching the Jay Giles tribute.
That's what when I saw that, I thought of John Alore because he was close with Peter Wolf and those guys. Yeah. So again, you can see the complete lineup. Well, it's not complete because they're still adding stuff throughout the summer. But Orion, I keep wanting to say it Orion, but it's Orion.events. And it's just www. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
www.orion.events, and the complete schedule is available. And if you've got this week's issue of Metro Times, we're in the center spread. You can tear it out and hang it on your refrigerator and not miss a show.
I recommend that. It all starts this coming up weekend, Thursday and Friday, June 8th and 9th. You got Anthony Gomes with Righteous to Luck Thursday at 8 o'clock. Starts at 7. I think you get tickets for $20. If you want to go VIP, I think it's $30. The next night, the Rockstar with the Vintage. It's an 80s party. You're not going to want to miss that. Anybody who's a fan of 80s music is going to love this show. Again, 7 o'clock. That's on Friday. It all kicks off. But again, go to Orion Events, www.orion.events, and you'll see the complete lineup. Brian, anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have?
Well, I'm also doing some other shows this summer. We're producing the concert series for Lake St. Clair Metro Park and Stony Creek Metro Park. Lake St. Clair is every Sunday. Stony Creek starts the 16th and every other Friday. Also, I have some killer acts coming to Pontiac, so check out www.pontiac.events for those concerts and those dates.
Brian, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing Wildwood's story and the upcoming summer concert lineup. You're the man. I appreciate you, man.
Same here, Ron. Looking forward to seeing you on the hill.
Yes, sir. Thank you again to Brian Major, and thank you for checking out Radio Dayz the Podcast. Today's show was brought to you by Team 71 Mortgage Group. Looking to buy a house or refinance your home and have questions that need answers now? Call Brian Alore. All you got to do is pick up the phone and dial 810-444-6466. Today's show is produced by Ron Robinson Studios. If you need professional marketing videos, photography, headshots, maybe you need drone content, head over to ronrobinsonstudios.com. You can also hear previous episodes of this podcast there as well. And if you'd like to learn more about the upcoming documentary about the history of radio, Radio Dayz 101 Years of Radio, click on the Radio Dayz the Movie under the Documentaries tab at ronrobinsonstudios.com. Thanks for checking out the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.
You can't go. All the plants are going to die.